put in the pin code very soon.
Very cool. All right. Welcome back, everyone, to Switchback Racing League. We are back for season number 4, and this is round 3 of this championship here in tier number 1, SBR's fastest tier in the league, as we get ready to race around the circuit Paul Ricard for the French Grand Prix. All right, so let's talk about the circuit before we get into the racing. So, located in Le Castellet, France, it's got 15 turns to make up a circuit length of 5.8 kilometers. That's 3.6 miles long. There's also 2 DRS zones to help encourage overtaking, one down the pit straight into turn 1. That is going to be a great place to make an overtake, but drivers have to make sure that they give room to the other driver side by side with them, because it is a very narrow part of the track. And of course, there is that other long straight down to turn 8, and that is going to be the best place to make an overtake for around here, as the DRS is going to be super powerful, and we're going to see speeds up to around 205 miles per hour. Now, of course, that depends on downforce settings as well, and what these drivers' setups are. But a lot of overtakes around here, guys, with 2 DRS zones helping that out, and just some other corners for drivers to take an opportunity to make an overtake around this track. All right, so with the details aside, let's get into the racing. You join us. 15 minutes remaining of Q1. We have 3 qualifying sessions. We'll get into the information about that in just a bit. But in the comms booth for today, it's myself, Formula Jonah, and joining me in the commentary box once again is Ronnie. Welcome back, my friend, to the commentary box here in Tier 1. What are you looking forward to as we head into round 3 here in Tier 1? Ronnie, you there?
Sorry, I was on mute there. Hello,
no
everyone. I hope you're doing okay. Like you said, the quickest drivers in this league, we're going to be looking for very quick times, even in this Q1 session, when all these drivers are just setting their bankers now. But thank you for that track information, as it was very helpful, especially with all the turns and the overtaking opportunities.
Yeah, no problem. There is quite a bit of overtaking opportunities, as I did mention previously. We'll definitely be watching out for drivers making good overtakes. And I think we're just waiting for drivers to kind of set lap times, get ready for Q1. There's a lot of drivers out on track that are looking to get a great result here in France. And another thing we were talking about earlier before we started the stream is how good of a race Tier 2 was. And we were talking about briefly how Tier 1 could be even better than Tier 2, because of course it is the fastest tier in SBR. It is the top tier in SBR. So here in Tier 2, or here in Tier 1, are we expecting a lot from these drivers? Are we expecting a great race from everyone, possibly even better than that amazing Tier 2 race that we had just yesterday?
Oh, 100%. Already looking at everyone's bankers in this qualifying one session, it's definitely looking like there's going to be some very quick times being produced from all of these drivers around. As some are already setting in the 1:28, so very strong from them. But yeah, it's definitely going to be one heck of a race, as there's going to be so much competition going on around like every single corner.
There definitely is going to be. I think these drivers are already setting in quicker lap times, as you did mention. They're already setting in their banker lap times, since we have actually Cameron on the fastest lap time with a 1:28.791 for the Aston Martin driver. But we've been talking a bit about overtaking, but another thing about this race is not just overtaking, but the strategy itself, because in F1, strategy is key, and also, especially at this track, as strategy can kind of ruin drivers' races and also help drivers' races. It has to be perfect for around here, and the reason being is degradation for the soft compound tires is horrible for around here. I remember driving this track just the other day and remembering I was on the soft compound tires at the start of the race, and those softs they just died so quickly. They really did. I mean, they were, I think, lap 4, lap 6, somewhere in between there, and they were just gone. So drivers have to make sure they pit, or they manage their strategy out really well, and either start on the soft compound tires, try and go for that 2-stop, or try and conserve those soft tires for as long as possible, or start on the medium compound tires, but also risk track position in the race itself, or in qualifying. Once we get to Q2, if drivers want to risk and go for the medium compound tires, they're also risking that position in starting lower down the grid than they would have liked. So it's going to be very interesting to see what these drivers are going to do in terms of strategy as well, because one little mistake or one little correction could completely change the outcome of the race.
I have to 100% agree with you. Tire degradation, I think the softs die off around lap 5. I think that's their pit. That's as long as they can go before you really start struggling. And the people who get knocked out of this Q1 session, I reckon they will gamble and either start on the mediums or the hards, because they can obviously, if they can keep in that pit stop gap of the front runners on the softs, they'll obviously take that P1. But then you also got to think safety cars that will come into play as IRT skip sets a 1:29.4 puts them into P6. Safety cars will probably come into play, and that can mess people's strategies up, or it can even help them out, as you can obviously, there might be people with damage, or just people might have really bad tires, or so they might just want to pit. So that's going to obviously have to come into effect as well.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting race in terms of strategy, in terms of overtaking, in terms of racing itself, because anything can really happen here in France. We don't know exactly what is going to be happening. So we've been talking about this track, we've been talking about the overtaking, all that sort of thing, but another topic I'd like to get into, and your opinion on this, my friend. So the race last time out in China was pretty incredible. What are we expecting from these drivers here today? Do we expect them, like maybe one or two of them, to maybe come from that race and start thinking like, okay, I haven't had the best of races in the previous 2 races. Do I want to make sure that I just consistently drive here today? So are we going to see a different mindset? These drivers who may have had not the greatest race in the previous couple of races, or maybe drivers that have been consistently grabbing points, and they're just going to consistently go in here today. I just want to get your thoughts on just what we're thinking from all these drivers here in France.
Well, definitely in season 4 of SBR, definitely in tier 1, consistency is going to be key. As I think, I can't remember who it was, but in last season there was a driver who constantly scored points, even if they weren't the most points. He constantly scored points, which put him up in the standings. So definitely consistency is key. But also, I think the undercut here can be very good, and people coming back from the back of the grid can also happen. I think I'm definitely going to see some drivers doing that today. So yeah, the undercut is very powerful around here. But yeah, definitely, I think it's going to be even closer than last week's race around China, because the DRS is so powerful around here. Trains can just be held. DRS trains can just be held and held and held for basically all of the race, really.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, this track is like that, where it's just DRS trains consistently throughout the entire racing experience, and just everything, really. It's quite interesting to see how the DRS trains are in this race.
Yeah, I have to 100% agree with you again. I'm watching Wheelo on his lap here. He's looking for a pretty solid time, I would imagine. Coming around turn 14 now. He's looking for about a 129, hopefully, or maybe even a 130. I'm not too sure. As Rudy in the Alfa Romeo goes to P3 with a 29 flat, which is a very good lap from him, and Wheelo puts himself in P11 with a 29.4. Not the best of laps. I know he can probably improve quite a bit on that lap, as most drivers are boxing, but I think some probably messed up their first laps and they wanted to go again. Obviously, I know some drivers also came out quite late through, I think that is turn 3. You can take lots of curb there, as the track limits there is not too bad, so you can take as much there. Through here it's flat out coming to the DRS straight. Obviously you've got your DRS wide open. This corner is also one where you can take a lot of curb without invalidating to chuck it in for the next corner. I would imagine that is turn 9. Yes, it is. So coming up into turn 8 as well, this is also flat out, because it's just a flat out corner, really, not much to say about it. You chuck it in, and then you've got a very fast right hander where you've got a heavily brake. Usually you see some drivers going down to 4th gear, sometimes 3rd even in the race, just to slow down that extra tiny bit. So yeah. Oh, as Kian has a massive snap on his tyres, that's not going to be great, because his tyres are going to be very worn out now.
Yeah, not good for the AlphaTauri driver. It looked to be going good, but let's see what he can do as he comes to the line. Is he able to improve on this time as he goes to P13? He's able to improve on the... But I'm sure he's going to want to go again. I think that little mistake might have messed up his lap a bit.
Yeah, 100%. I have to agree with you. I reckon there's about 2 attempts in that lap alone. But especially with track evolution as well. A lot of these tracks on the grid have massive track evolution. So, but at the moment it's looking to be pretty dry throughout the whole session, as a lot of drivers are now coming on their out laps and some are on their in laps, as the Mercedes of IRT Seb is on his out lap.
Yeah, let's see what he can do. I mean, right now he is currently down in where is he? He's P7. He's on an out lap, like you mentioned. He's got to get a good lap, and he won the race in China last time out. So I think he's got a serious chance of winning here in France. Wouldn't you say so?
Yeah, I have to definitely agree. I think he had the alternate strategy compared to everyone else's. I think he was on the medians and everyone else was on the halves. Hards, if I'm correct. So we're definitely going to see some drivers going on the alternate strategies, but we both know his pace from last race. We know he's bringing a lot to this grid. So he's just starting his lap now, coming down the DRS, the main straight with his DRS wide open.
Here he comes down to turn 1, into turn 2 now, looking pretty good. As he comes into turn 3. And into that chicane, you want to make sure you get as much as you can left, and then come into the right as well. Into turn 5. Looking pretty strong so far for Seb as he comes through that long right-hander. Oh, and he spins off a little bit, and unfortunately that is the end of that particular lap for Seb. He's going to have to go again.
Yeah, I think he definitely is going to go again, unless he is just going to carry on, but I think he's probably going to back off, save his tyres, get some more ERS. He doesn't actually look like he's backing off though, so I don't know whether he knows something that we don't. I don't know, I think maybe he probably messed up his other lap. We're not sure, but we're going to have to find out unless he does back off, as he's 6 tenths down now. If I was him, I'd be backing off, trying to save those tyres and cool down them tyres, because the heat round here, around this track, is insane. But he is just carry on pushing, so I don't actually know what's going on. Yeah, he's spun it. I think that's just from overheating of tyres. But second, third, and fourth place have all retired as they feel comfortable enough to get through into the next session.
Yeah, I think we're coming to the end of Q1 now, and a lot of people are just thinking that we're done, no need to go out again. But there is drivers that do need to go out again in the bottom half of the grid. I'm particularly looking at Mr. BT, who hasn't been able to set a lap time yet. He's on an out lap. He needs a good lap time if he's making it into Q2. So the Alpine driver here today, of course Alpine, this is their home Grand Prix as it is in France. And Mr. BT needs a good result in today's race and needs to get into Q2.
Yeah, well, obviously he hasn't set a time yet, so we're not going to know what times he will be producing until he finishes his lap. But he is now going to be starting his lap as he goes over the straight. The start-finish line comes into turn 1, can chuck it in quite a bit. Obviously, this curb, you want to be careful because you can easily spin if you take too much curb and come onto the throttle too quick. Coming into turn 3, he's going to chuck it in, take as much curb as he can, heavily brake, go down into second gear for here. He's going to short shift up. Usually I see some drivers short shifting up to fourth. He's took a lot of curb flat out through here before the DRS, which he's going to activate now.
And he's going to come down to turn 8, looking pretty strong so far. So let's see what he can do as he comes into turn 8 and turn 9. That chicane, that is very difficult. Into turn, into the long straight down to turn 10. He's purple in the second sector. So Mr. BT looking really strong into that long right-hander at turn 10. As he comes down into another long right-hander, and this is even longer, turn 11. You want to shift down to around 4th of 3rd gear as you exit really nicely. Mr. BT into turn 12 now. Wants to brake nice and even. Don't get too much on that curve. You can spin out very easily, and even if you just come on the power too early, you spin off. Into turn 13, 14, and the final corner at turn 15. Final heavy braking zone. Might be the heaviest braking zone on the track, to be honest. Into turn 15. Out of that particular corner, Mr. BT to the line. What can he do? Can he put it faster than P19? Yes, he does. He goes P7, and that was a very solid lap time from the Alpine driver. Definitely into Q2, and a very competitive lap time as well.
Very, very good lap from him, especially is that he had no delta for that whole lap as Kian in the Alpha Tauri is now starting his lap. But yeah, he had no delta that whole lap, so he didn't know what time he was actually going to be on for. He could only tell by his sector times, and maybe if he got PBs and stuff. Fastest laps through the fastest sectors, sorry. CPI Daniel goes fastest in the second sector, so it's going to be interesting to see what time he can produce for this final lap, as he is unfortunately in P18 at the moment. So if he doesn't mess up, he should be on for a pretty solid lap here. He's looking to be pretty clean so far. He's still keeping it clean. Hopefully he can just keep it on track for these final few corners. Coming around turn 14 down into 3rd gear, that's probably going to lose you a bit of time because you can't accelerate that much. Short shifting up to 3rd gear. He doesn't want to invalidate. I don't know what he's doing. I think he's just trying not to invalidate, and he's not going to invalidate, and he's going to set a 29.2, which is going to put him in P10. Is that going to see him through? I'm not too sure.
He should be into qualifying, but I'm very surprised that he didn't get an invalidation, though, as he stayed off track for that entire section. I don't think he'll be... Do you think he'll be getting a penalty for that? Maybe a warning at most?
I'm not too sure, to be honest. Yeah, I don't know, because I don't think it's illegal, but we'll have to see what the stewards say towards the further of through the week. I think Kian has a massive snap. I don't know. That's going to lose him a lot of time. I think we saw him have a big snap as well earlier on in session. That's not going to improve his time, and he's going to stay down in P18, unfortunately.
That's super unfortunate for Kian. He did not have the best qualifying session. It wasn't looking the greatest But I mean, I think that last moment just messed up his qualifying. He could have been into Q2. Unfortunately, is not. Unfortunate to see that, but another driver that could be out of qualifying here is Marty. Marty coming to turn 13 and 14, going very wide, and he comes into the pit lane, so he is not improving on that time. Marty is out of qualifying, and that means that we have 4 drivers out of qualifying. Marty, Funky, Can, and then Stretch as well, Artistic, and the Aston Martin. And all 4 drivers are out of qualifying. The rest all make it into Q2 as we head into that tire-saving race that it is as Q2, of course. So we'll see how that all works out. But a very competitive grid as we head into the second qualifying session.
Yep, 100%. Obviously, some drivers didn't set laps until further into the session stretch. Artiste did not even set a time, so he's going to be starting at the bottom of the grid in P19. Unfortunate for him, as his teammate puts it in P1 for this qualifying 1 session. I think we're going to see some drivers going out on mediums for the banker laps just to save their tyres, because they want to try and qualify on the softs, because the mediums are about just over a second slower than the softs on this track. So I don't think we're going to see people qualifying on the mediums. But like I said, Stretch did not set a lap. So are we going to see some drivers not even setting laps, not being able to set laps?
I mean, who knows? We'll see. I mean, is that a possibility? It's possible. I'm not sure why that's the case, because I would see a lot of drivers go out on track, but yeah, I guess that's the thing, which is a little unfortunate, but we'll see how it goes. Hopefully they all are able to set lap times, and it goes down to the final few tenths of a second between all these drivers in qualifying. You mentioned that a lot of drivers won't be going for the medium compound tires. I think that's definitely a possibility. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, we'll see if drivers choose to go for the softs or the mediums, and I have to agree with you, I think, because the drivers, they want to try and qualify the highest, and with the medium compound tires, you are at risk of not getting into Q3. With such a competitive grid like this, if one driver just goes on the mediums and the rest all on softs, that driver is most likely going to be out of Q2 and won't make it into Q3, which, of course, those drivers won't want to do. They want to make it into Q3, so I think I have to agree with you. I think everyone most likely will be going for the softs, but actually, I'm totally wrong, because a few drivers are on the mediums because, yeah, why not? And maybe these drivers just want to either try and go for the mediums first and then try to go for the softs. We don't know. We'll find out what happens.
Yeah, well, I know a lot of people did that yesterday in the Tier 2 qualifying, just to set their bankers, because obviously they want 2 tyres, soft compound tyres, for qualifying 3, just so, because obviously you get an extra set if you get into Q3. So these drivers are probably going on mediums for their bankers, just to see what pace they've got on the mediums, and then towards the end of this session we will see drivers moving onto their soft compound tyres. FRL Jamie Morris has gone straight out on the softs. I don't know if he's done that by mistake or not, but his tyres are going to be worn out unless he is going to be using 2 this session. I don't know.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. Is this the case where these drivers are going to try and go for the medium compound tires now and then go for the softs? We don't know. Most likely it's going to be that. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm just curious to see what type of times these guys are going to be doing and what the difference is between the mediums and the softs, because who knows? The mediums might be even almost as quick as the soft compound tires. I've seen that situation before. Who knows? We'll see how that works out. But Jamie Morris is about to start a lap. So let's run on board with the McLaren driver as he comes down the straight. And he's going to start his lap time now. So down to turn 1, Jamie Morris probably going to get a good entrance and exit, as actually it's a very good entrance and exit. But then he spins off the exit of the curb, just got too much on the curb, and Jamie Morris is round. That lap has ended. He will go out again, most likely, in the next lap, but that is Jamie Morris's attempt of that lap. Unfortunately over for the McLaren driver. It looks like the Ferrari possibly had a similar thing that happens. Skip is very slow into turn 4. I wonder if he spun off as well. Not exactly sure, but that corner, turn 2, to go too much on that curb, or if you put down the power too early, you spin off so easily. That corner, and I think turn 12 is another corner where you have that same issue. It is a very difficult part of the track, those two particular turns.
Yeah, well, I've seen about 4 drivers now invalidating through the first around 5 turns. So I don't know whether it's just pressure or if it's these medium tyres, but FRL Jamie Morris, he was on the softs. He had a brilliant turn 1, very good turn 2, but I think he just got a bit too greedy and came onto the throttle a bit too quickly. I don't know if he is going to box and put on the medium compound tyres. Just it's going to be interesting to see. I don't know. We'll have to see what he does in a little while. But is there any drivers setting their laps now, as the Mercedes of Emric Boss is on his lap? He's coming through the back straight. He's got his DRS wide open. That's about it, as Rudy sets a 1:29.2 on the soft compound tyres. If he can improve, I don't know if he's going to want to improve on that or not, because he's going to want to save his tyres. It's all down to confidence when it comes to retiring from this session. Seeing a lot of drivers out on their laps now. Robbie, he's gone for another lap as he invalidated his first lap, very slow through turn 2. Obviously you're going to see that with the medium compound tyres, as they're much different to the soft compound tyres. They're about a second slower. He's taken that curve very nicely. He's taken that very well considering the circumstances he's on, setting his banker laps. Here you can just lift a little bit and then straight on the power. He's gone on the power a bit too early though. He's set the past the sector 1 though, so he should be on for a good lap, as Jerome also goes fastest with a 1:28.8. That is going to probably see him through, I would imagine.
Yeah, I'm very impressed by Robbie's current lap right now. He is very impressive. And that Williams driver on the medium compound tires, like you mentioned, it's very impressive, especially with the circumstances that he is in on those medium compound tires. You would think that those tires are have less grip than the softs and are more difficult to drive, but Robbie treating these like soft compound tires as he's just going through turn 11, looking pretty strong. He invalidates though, because he just got too much on the curb to the left, which spun him to the right. He tried to save it, but unfortunately has invalidated on that lap. That is incredibly unfortunate for the Williams driver, who was going all so well. He comes into the pit lane and will have to go again if he's going to be able to get a good lap here, and he may even need to go onto the soft compound tires. That is incredibly unfortunate for the Williams driver.
Definitely so unfortunate. He looked to be so solid, especially through that sector 1. He just hooked up all the curbs, but it's Pyros now on the mediums. We both know his pace, so it's going to be interesting to see what time he sets his IRT skip. Sets to 1:31, so that's just a little bit of a reference to show how slow the mediums are compared to the soft compound tires for you there, Jonah. But Taze Leroy on the mediums now does a 1:29.7, so it's a very good solid lap from him. I think that's probably one of the quickest medium runs we're going to see in this session. Obviously this is only their bankers. They're going to want to pit and go onto the softs, because I do not think that is going to see them through.
Yeah, I don't think it will either. It's going to be intense. We'll see what these drivers can do. If they're going to try and go out again, it will be quite interesting. But yeah, I think these drivers have to go out again and maybe put onto the soft compound tires. It's going to be one hell of an end to qualifying here today in Q2 to see who will be faster in this Q2 session, who will be qualifying on the mediums, who will be qualifying on the softs. And you mentioned that you and me both know Pyro's pace, and we definitely do. We have seen it countless times in the previous races in SBR, and Pyro looking very fast once again. Unfortunately, he hasn't validated on that lap, but previously he was looking very fast, so I'm assuming he's going to try and go again. I'm going to try and ride on board with the Red Bull driver, see what type of lap he can do as he comes to the line now, or he's going to exit turn 15 and then come to the line. As he hits that line now, there he goes, and that Aston Martin of Cameron will get out of the way. Very good. Pyro to turn 1 now, to turn 2. Looking pretty strong so far. Ooh, he does a very good exit out of turn 2. It's very hard to do so, like we have mentioned previously, into the chicane to turn 3 and turn 4. Looking pretty strong for Pyro. Slows that car down really nicely into turn 5 and turn 6 and turn 7. The triple right-hander as we come into those couple of turns into turn 7. a traction zone as well. If you hit that curb, you think it's just a painted curb on the tarmac, but it's a real curb. As you come down to turn 8 and turn 9, heavy braking zone, but it's pretty open, so the drivers will have lots of room to turn into turn 9, shifting now to 3rd to 4th gear, shifting up quite early into turn 9, comes back onto that straight that he rejoins on. No DRS this time, though. Purple sector for Pyro in the 2nd sector, looking pretty strong so far. Into turn 10, gets right in between that curb really nicely for the Red Bull driver. As Pyro comes through turn 11, rotates that car really nicely, gets on the curb to the left. Now turn 12, traction zone. He's got to play this really nice. He comes through turn 12. Very nice exit as well for Pyro. It's looking really strong for the Red Bull driver. Into turn 13 and turn 14. Shifts down and then into turn 15, heavy braking zone, comes on the power, short shifts a little bit and spins off a little bit, and unfortunately Pyro's lap was going all so well until that final corner, and that has got to be more unfortunate than Robbie's lap, because Pyro, it was going all so well, that probably would have been top 3 for the Red Bull driver, and unfortunately that spin at the last corner just messed his lap up. I cannot believe that has happened to the Red Bull driver. Super unfortunate.
Yeah, definitely so unfortunate. I'm so like, I just feel really bad because that lap was perfect in my opinion. He did resist a little bit when it came to going into turn 8, but it's one of those corners where sometimes you do have to resist just to get the better entrance. But I'm watching EVG Scotty here now. He looks to be on a decent lap. I don't know if he's going to be boxing or not. I don't think, yeah, he's going to stay out. It looks to be a very solid lap in my opinion, probably in the 130s actually, hopefully in the 129s, because Mr. BT's gone P4 with a 129.9, but his teammate has taken his spot with a 129.8. So both the Alpines are looking very strong so far. Obviously, only 9 drivers have actually set competitive times, but V Robbie is now coming across the line and he's going to be setting a 130 flat. He's definitely going to improve if he switches to those soft compound tyres, if he can get to the box in time.
And Jamie Morris to the line now. What can he do? He goes P7, puts it ahead of Robbie's lap time. Good lap time from Jamie Morris. What about Cameron, though? Can he stick it up into the top 5? Let's see what he can do. Yes, he does. Puts it into the top 5 ahead of Scotty's lap time by just 2/100ths of a second. Very quick lap time from Cameron there, and that'll definitely put him into Q3. A few drivers still on lap times. Boss in the Mercedes needs a good lap time. Seb and Daniel need good lap times. Skip and Pyro need good lap time. Same with Wheelo. Robbie's probably going to have to go out again. Maybe even Jamie Morris and Mr. BT. But this is getting interesting, and usually the drivers that are usually qualifying in the top 5, top 3 are down in the bottom 10 or out of the top 10 and out of the contention for Q3 right now. So they need a serious lap time as Rudy goes fastest with a 128.791 for the Alfa Romeo driver. Great lap from Rudy there in the Italian Alfa Romeo. As a few drivers out on laps, Daniel and Boss out on laps. Boss will start his lap, so we'll check in with him and see how he's doing. But a lot of drivers do need some good lap times if they're going to make it into Q3.
Yeah, 100%. I was watching Rudy's lap actually. He through that final sector, it was astonishing. I think he was 2 attempts up coming into that final sector, and he gained another 3 attempts. So, especially as I think he's used 2 sets of softs. So I don't know what. He seemed pretty comfortable on those soft compound tyres. So I don't know. But yeah, there's some drivers who definitely need to get out of that zone, as Embrick Boss has invalidated his lap. Seb is, oh no, he is on his lap. So unfortunately for him, he has invalidated. His teammate will be looking to set his lap very soon. CPI Daniel is on his out lap. He's about to come round turn 15 to start his lap. He's going to have DRS wide open right now. He's got it wide open in that Williams car. He's going to come across the start/finish line to start his lap. Coming to turn 1, taking that very nicely, took a lot of curb, and he's just took too much curve for turn 2. He had a very good turn 1, but unfortunately he couldn't take turn 2 better than he should have. as mostly all drivers are out on their outlaps now. NRL Sparks in the Haas car has retired from this session. He feels he's more than comfortable enough to get through this into qualifying 3 on those medium compound tyres. He's got a 129.5, but then you also got to remember loads of people have switched to the soft compound tyres now.
Yeah, a lot of people are on the softs and looking to set a good lap time here. I'm curious to see what Seb can do on the mediums. He goes wide. Seb goes very wide. And I think that's the... Oh, he still is going on, though. Okay. He has not invalidated quite yet. He needs a good lap time. He's probably going to have to go out again and try and set another lap time, because that lap is currently over, but he is still pushing quite a bit. So I wonder if he's trying to continue this lap, but I think he went wide, so he wasn't able to continue. But he's using some slipstream from his teammate there in the Mercedes, who unfortunately will not be able to get a lap currently. He's currently got an invalidation. He might be able to go out for another one as Wheelo does retire, and that might be the end of Wheelo's lap. Pyro also on the soft compound tires. Watch out for him as Robbie now retires from the session. Those two drivers could be out of qualifying here because there's a lot of drivers on fast laps right now. The first driver to come across the line should be Seb in that Mercedes. He makes a little mistake. I think that lap might be over, but I don't know. Maybe he's just trying to get into qualifying here and then maybe try and set another lap time to make sure that he gets into Q3. But Seb to the line now. Let's see what he can do. 17 seconds remain of the Q2 session. Will Seb make it to the line and be able to set a lap time? We'll find out, but Seb to the line. He should get a good lap in here. Yes, he does. Puts it up into P7. Should be good for him in this qualifying session. Next to come across the line should be Pyro in the Red Bull. And Pyro will be able to finish his lap. Boss is out of qualifying. Pyro to the line. Can he make it out of Q2 here in Tier 1? Yes, he does. He puts a P3, and that's a more competitive lap time from Pyro. Good lap from the Red Bull driver, and it should be Daniel next to the line.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, Mr. BT didn't validate his lap, but that's probably, hopefully, will see him through unless both Skip and Daniel can both improve on their times, as Skip is coming through turn 8. But I'm going to tune in with CPI Daniel through this final few corners of his lap. It looks to be pretty solid so far. I don't think I've seen any mistakes from the parts that I've been watching. He's coming through turn 14 now. Let's see what time he's going to be producing coming to the line. It doesn't look to be too quick as he's setting 122s coming through that final quick corner. Let's see what time he's going to produce coming to the line. He's going to set at 130.1. That's going to put him in P13. Not a brilliant lap from him.
I think he must have messed up somewhere because that's only P13 from Daniel there. And that is super unfortunate too. That means he's out of Q2. As Skip to the line now. Can Skip get himself out of Q2? And yes, he does. Puts it up into P4 right behind Pyro. So good lap from Skip. And I think that should be it, unless Jamie Morris is going to push out Mr. BT to the line. Jamie Morris does go up into P4, and that means Mr. BT is out of qualifying here in France. With a solid lap time from Jamie Morris, it is Mr. BT, Robbie, Willow, and we have Daniel and Bots out of qualifying. Willow and Robbie were not able to, I think they retired from the session, weren't able to go out for another lap. Daniel's lap seemed to not go great, and Mr. BT had that invalidation, same with Boss as well. Unfortunately, those 5 are out of qualifying, but the top 10 going really nicely, and Seb just made it in to Q3. Wow, what an end to Q2. Sparks and Seb on the medium compound tires, the rest all onto the softs. This is turning out to be a very interesting qualifying that is setting up for an amazing race.
100%. The quickest drivers on this track, arguably, obviously, some people invalidated not being able to set times. V Robbie out. I was not expecting that, as he did look to have a lot of pace. I think, was it him who made the mistake on his lap? He looked to be on a decent lap. Obviously him and Pyro both did that, but I think V Robbie, oh yes, he invalidated, didn't he? He clipped too much curb. Sorry for that. But yeah, it looks to be a very interesting Q3 session, as we've got some very quick drivers. Rudy in the Alfa Romeo going P1 with a 28.7. That's a very solid lap from him.
Yeah, very good lap time from that driver, so great to see that. And also, I was wrong. Sparks and Seb are not the only drivers on the medium compound tires. A few other drivers were able to set laps on the mediums. So I didn't see that. But yeah, a very competitive grid here with a lot of drivers looking to get into a really good position in Q3. I'm curious to see what Pyro, Skip, and Jamie Morris are going to do on those soft compound tires. At the last minute, they had to put onto the soft compound tires, which does mean that they're going to be at risk of pitting quite early into the French Grand Prix due to those softs. And another thing that's just happened is Rudy has left the session. Fortunate to see that. Look at the skies. It is very dark out there. And look, we have rain. We have rain out on track. Oh. And this is really going to affect everything.
I wasn't even expecting rain, as it looked to be so sunny throughout. Some drivers are just straight away going out. They're going out on the soft compound tyres. They're gambling. I think by the time they get to the line, though, I think it's just going to be a bit too wet. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see whether people they're not going to be able to set times or not. But I don't think even me or you were even expecting rain at all. For this session.
Yeah, no, I don't think we were. I think this was something that was completely unexpected, and now this changes the face of the entire Q3 session. And what this means is that a lot of drivers are going to be at risk of being out of qualifying, because this one mistake by one of these drivers could affect their entire race. And the crazy thing is that this has basically become a one-shot qualifying, and they got to quickly make it to the line now to be able to set a good lap time, because the rain is coming in fast. There's puddles already forming on the track itself. So whoever is first, and that is Sparks, might have the best opportunity to set a lap time, but is it going to be enough? Will these drivers have to go out again on the intermediates?
I don't know. It's going to be very interesting, as all drivers are literally like so packed. So it's actually going to slow them down, because they're going to have to slow down for their to get ready for their laps. But I don't know what to say. Sparks definitely has the upper hand. It does look to be quite sunny though, so I don't know. Will it dry up further in the session? I don't know. That's the driver's intel. But NRL Sparks now coming through turn 14, getting ready to set his lap. He's definitely got the best opportunity to stick it on pole here if it doesn't dry up. It's definitely looking sunny through this sector 3. What times is that a Ferrari who is pitted? I'm not sure what's happened to a Ferrari. Oh no, it's just Skip.
I think he spun off. I think that's what happened to the Ferrari driver. And Sparks has actually aced the second turn here, especially in these conditions. So very well done to the Haas driver. Everyone else is most likely going to be struggling right now. Sparks went early, went fast, and it worked out pretty well for the Haas driver into turn 6 and turn 7. That rain is all over, and if Sparks makes one little mistake, it is all over. Same for the rest of the drivers as well. So anyone could really get on pole position here. This is what makes it exciting. The rain has affected the entire race, and anyone could be on pole here.
Well, Sparks is definitely hooking up his lap so far. I don't want to curse anything for him, because it looks to be a pretty solid lap so far. Skip does retire, as I think, yeah, DRS is disabled, so the rain is definitely getting worse. Sparks sets a 54 flat, I think it was, for his second sector. So definitely the track is not soft compound weather, unfortunately. So this will literally be a short qualifying, as we're going to see some drivers just setting their times now. It's going to be interesting to see who's invalidated their times now, as I don't think much people have.
Oh, and Scotty spun off at turn 10. That's the end of his lap, and he will be qualifying down in P9 if I'm not mistaken. But Sparks to the line. I'm very curious to see what invalidations are as well. We'll see how this works out. But Sparks is the first driver to come across the line. It was a very consistent lap time from Sparks. He comes to the line, and what is the lap time going to be? It is a 1:39.8. And especially in these conditions, that is a very good lap time. Taze Leroy to the line now for Ferrari. What can he do as Leroy comes to the line now? It is a 141.7. The Aston Martin of Cameron puts it at 140.6. Jamie Morris at 141.0. Jerome P5 Seb P6. The time is just getting worse and worse and worse. This is it. I think that is it. Pyro's also DNF'd, so this is absolutely worked out beautifully for Sparks. Nothing will be changing, I think, because Sparks has just grabbed pole position here today in France with a 139.8, and even just a few tenths ahead of those drivers on track. That makes the difference.
Well, yeah, I don't think it is going to be drying up, but a brilliant lap from Sparks. Obviously, he had the best opportunity to stick it on pole as he was the first to set his laps. He did really actually hook up that lap as he's... Well, let me check what that is. That is a good 7.5 temps, so he definitely set the hooked up that lap the best, as like you said, the times were just getting worse as the times were coming in. So good lap from FRO Jamie Morris as well. He's going to be happy with P3, I would imagine. Unfortunate for its Pyro as he did spin on the exit of turn 10.
Yeah, it's super unfortunate for Pyro. It was going also well in Q2 at the end of it, but yeah, it just didn't seem like today really worked out for the Red Bull driver. Same with Skip as well, but that is that. We do end off Q3 now. Everyone should be making it back to the pit lane, and while we get this chance, it seems like there's a little bit of lag on my microphone in the stream. It seems like there's like some echo or something like that. I've plugged my microphone back in. I've done everything like that. And I just want to check and see, just checking all possibilities. Ronnie, would you mind like maybe just unplugging your microphone and plugging it back in, just
yeah,
like
of course,
to see maybe if that will fix it? Cool, thank you very much.
Yeah, there we go. It's interesting to see Rudy is out on the intermediate, so I will check the stream now. But yeah, Rudy is out on the intermediate, so I don't know what he's doing.
Maybe just getting some practice of the track. That could be the case. Scotty as well, also on the intermediate, so both seem to be out on the intermediates, maybe just getting some practice.
Through the first corner, it does look like sector 3 and first 3 corners, it does look to actually be drying up. So are we going to see drivers actually going on quicker laps? I'm not too sure. Rain is still coming down though, so I don't know.
Is there a possibility that drivers might be able to go out for another lap on possibly a soft compound tires at the end of it? I mean, as Rudy's purple in the first sector, I don't know. I mean, what's your experience of driving in the wet here? What's a good time here on the intermediate compound tires?
To be honest, I haven't actually driven in the wet here, so I wouldn't know for sure. But yeah, are the intermediates actually quicker? That is going to be, as loads of drivers are coming out on the intermediates now, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so I think the intermediates are actually quicker.
This is interesting. This might be interesting because the thing is that Sparks, we thought he had pole position here, but are the intermediates actually faster? Like you mentioned, they might be faster. We'll see. I mean, Rudy was purple in the first sector. Either that's a glitch or the intermediates are faster on track. So we don't know. But we'll find out exactly what this time is going to be from Rudy. If he puts it up into like P4 or something like that, that means that the intermediates at similar pace to the soft compound tires. So let's find out what Rudy can do. He has messed up a tiny bit on the exit of certain corners, though. That's just down to the rain. Rudy to the line. What's his lap going to be? It is going to be pole position for the Alfa Romeo driver. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. 3 tenths between first and second position, and that was completely unexpected. The intermediates are absolutely faster than the soft compound tires. Rudy has absolutely shocked the field as he goes on to provisional pole position, and this just opened up a huge can of worms for everyone out there, because now anyone has the chance of getting pole position. Qualifying is absolutely not over.
As Rudy goes, he's a 10th up on his Sector 1 time already, and he knows he's already got so much time in that lap. We definitely weren't expecting that, as we thought NRL Sparks definitely took it and put it on pole position, but now Rudy is on provisional pole, seen as the intermediates are much quicker. But coming to the end of his Sector 2 now, what time is he going to be setting? Is he going to be quicker? He's now 3 tenths up. That is a phenomenal Sector 2, as the intermediate track is now just ramping up.
0.3 of a second. That is incredible from the Alfa Romeo driver, and he did make a little mistake on the exit of turn 15, I do believe, and turn 12. So if he's able to ace these two corners, he might get it into the 138s and possibly might get it close to the 137s, which would be absolutely insane in these current conditions on the intermediate compound tires. Rudy to the line. What can he do? Through turn 15, it's looking pretty good for the Alfa Romeo driver. Comes on the power pretty nicely, and a very good exit for the Alfa as he comes to the line. Current lap time is a 139.4. What's his lap time now? It is a 139.0. He does go almost 4/10 faster than his previous lap time. Rudy is absolutely flying out there. Brilliant lap from Rudy, but it is not over because there's so many drivers out on track looking to improve. Jamie Morris is currently on a lap. Unfortunately, Cameron didn't validate on that time. Taze Leroy also on a lap as well. But Jamie and Taze really flying right now as they come into turn 12 and turn 13, all that particular section of the track. Jerome has also started hit his lap as well. Scotty's got another chance. This race is going to get absolutely incredible for pole position.
I'm lost for words, to be honest, as we both just thought that Sparks was on pole position, but Rudy is proving to be quicker as FRL Jamie Morris will be improving. He puts it on pole, provisional pole position, as he didn't have a great first sector, and Taze Leroy goes in front of Rudy. Wow, I'll be back in a second, but wow, this track is definitely ramping up.
Yeah, no problem. But yeah, a lot of drivers improving on their time. That is incredibly interesting to see how this all works out. Jamie Morris has gone on to provisional pole position, a 138.8. The times are coming in faster and faster. We thought the times are going to get worse and worse, but they definitely have not. Seb is also invalidated on this particular lap. Seb is not improving on that time. Sparks to the line. Sparks grabbed pole position on the soft compound tires earlier on. Can he put it on pole here on the intermediate compound tires? Remember, guys, the intermediates for this particular track and for all tracks really, they work better on the second lap. Sparks to the line. It is provisional pole for the Haas driver by 0.2 of a second. Sparks grabs provisional pole position here today in France, but can anyone else improve on his time? Scotty is starting his outlap. Rudy to the line. Can Rudy improve? No, he cannot. Rudy cannot improve on that particular lap. Jerome to the line now. Can Jerome grab pole position here today? It is only P4 for the AlphaTauri driver. Still a good lap though. Next to come across the lap time should be Jamie Morris. Jamie Morris has got another lap in, but he has slowed down quite a bit. I think that is the end of that particular lap. Remember, Cameron has not been able to set a decent lap here as he set a lap on the softs and invalidated on that particular time. Jamie Morris is done with his lap. He is not improving on that particular time. Cameron to the line now. What can Cameron do? He's got Taze Leroy right behind him. Can either grab pole position here at the Paul Ricard circuit. Cameron to the line. It is provisional pole for the Aston Martin driver. What a lap from Cameron now. Taze Leroy is not improving on that time. Can Seb do anything? No, he is invalidated on that time. The only driver that might be able to do something is Scotty in the Alpine.
And Sparks.
It is either Aston and Sparks. You're right, and Sparks.
Yeah, Sparks is about probably around 2.5 tenths up now. I think that was I'm just lost for words as he's coming through turn 15 now. He gets on the power very well. Short shifts up. He's gonna come across the line. What time is he gonna set? Is he gonna put it on pole? He does. He puts it on provisional pole. He nicks that provisional pole away from Cameron as he goes with a 38 to the only person who can deny him now is Scotty. He's coming through turn 15 now. He's got on power very well there. He's low on fuel, but that doesn't matter because he's going to come across the line and he's going to set a 38.9, so that's going to put him in P5.
Well, we thought Sparks grabbed pole on the soft compound tires. Then we were mistaken that everyone, when everyone went out again on the intermediate compound tires. But Sparks has gone it again, just proving why he is the driver that took provisional pole position earlier on. Sparks has officially grabbed pole here in France, and what a lap from the Haas driver. Truly incredible. 0.2 faster than Cameron's lap time. And Jerome qualifying P3. What a qualifying session. What a mix-up. We thought the softs were faster. The intermediates were faster, though, and it proved to be an excellent... I'm lost for words, to be honest, guys. I'm speechless after what has happened just now, because it proved to be one hell of a qualifying session, and that's just qualifying, viewers. Now we head into the official race with 20 drivers joining us on the grid for what should be one of the best races in SBR this season.
Definitely one of the best, if not the best, qualifying session I have ever seen in SBR. I don't even know what to say. Like, we thought Sparks was on pole when he was on those soft compound tyres. He then took it away from Cameron in the later stage of his lap. We both thought that he was backed off because he set his time. It does look to be a dry race, but yeah, we both thought he looked to be backed off his lap, as he did set a time beforehand.
He did, yeah. I don't know. I mean, this is gonna get interesting. To be honest, guys, I'm lost for words. So sorry. I will regain my my thoughts in a moment here. I think we're just waiting for all the drivers to get on the grid. Hopefully, there's no glitches.
No, there shouldn't be. They're probably all just choosing their fuel loads and stuff like that. You've got to feel bad for It's Pyro and RRT Skip, though, because they both DNF'd. I think Skip chose to retire from the session himself. So they could have even still have nicked pole away from Sparks if they stayed in the session, but unfortunate for both of them.
Yeah, it really was unfortunate for both of them. I mean, they had a good chance of getting a good result in today's race, qualifying P9 and P10. But who knows? I mean, anything can really happen for all these drivers on the grid. It is unfortunate for Pyro and Skip, but head up, look forward to the race now as we get ready for the 27 laps of the French Grand Prix here at the Circuit Paul Ricard. As we head into an amazing race here in France, a lot of drivers looking for a great result. I'm going to quickly do the rundown of the grid, and then I'll hand it off to you, Ronnie, for the race itself. Sparks in P1 for Haas as he qualifies on the medium compound tires. Cameron in P2 for Aston Martin, lining up on the first row of the grid. It's an all-medium compound runner, first and second position. It's an all-soft compound runner, third and fourth. On the second row of the grid, it is Jerome ahead of Jamie Morris, both putting up a very impressive time in Q3. Taze Leroy is P5 with Scotty in P6 for Alpine. Alpine looking for a good result in their home Grand Prix today. Rudy, who shocked us by going faster on the intermediate compound tires, does qualify P7 on the soft compound tires, so watch out for him on the start of the Grand Prix. He's got Seb, last time out winner in China, qualifying P8. Pyro and Skip weren't able to get a lap time in the race itself, or in the qualifying session. They will start P9 and P10 with Mr. BT in 11th for Alpine, Robbie in P12, Willow in P13, Daniel in P14, Boss in P15, Marty in P16, Funky in P17, Cayenne in P18, and Artis in P19, rounding the grid off for Aston Martin.
It's definitely going to be one hell of a race. If this race is as good as it was for the, the qualifying session, this is going to be one of my favourite sessions I think I've ever watched in league racing overall. But I am going to hand this over to you for the race start. Obviously all the drivers are just coming in now. We've got a little bit to wait because I think that is CPI Daniel. Yeah, he did probably spin under the formation lap, but he's coming through turn 14 now. So all the drivers are just locking into their grid positions as they are waiting for the lights out any minute now.
All right, viewers. So we're ready to go for the French Grand Prix here in Tier 1. This is Season 4, Round 3 of the fastest tier in SBR. If you guys are enjoying the stream, make sure to subscribe, like this video if you're enjoying it, and follow us on SBR, of course, for all the streams. But we're ready to go for the racing. The 27 laps are awaiting us for the French Grand Prix. We're just trying to get a good start here as the fiber lights are about to go out for the racing. There they are. It's 1 light, 2 light, 3 light, 4 light, 5 lights. And it's lights out, and away we go here in France. It's a great start for the front two. Cameron gets a great start, but Sparks gets a better one. And there goes Jerome, who had a brilliant start. Jerome's gone onto the soft compound tires. He's trying to go up into P2 and trying to make the move on Sparks as well. Great start for everyone, though, as Rudy is trying to make the move on Taze Leroy. Scotty in the mix as well. The battle for fifth is getting quite intense as Rudy and Taze Leroy are side by side, but it is Sparks who leads, and that is Willow off the track as well. think Mercedes might be off the track as well. That might be Boss. But a great start for Sparks. Great start for Jerome on the soft compound tires. He's looking for the move for first now. As he's using the ERS, trying to go for it on the soft compound tires. It was a great start for Jerome. And now he's going for P1 in the Grand Prix side by side with the race leader coming down to turn 8. And Jerome has got ahead. What a great start for the AlphaTauri driver. He now leads the French Grand Prix. Oh, Taze Leroy. What happened to Taze Leroy? He's off the track. The Ferrari driver has spun it. I think there was contact with another driver, but that is Taze Leroy's race all over. Super unfortunate. Oh, Ronnie, you there?
Oh, sorry, I'm not here. I was on mute again. I'm so sorry.
All good, all good.
Yeah, so I was just saying how we knew that Taze Leroy did have very good pace as the drivers are going, as the virtual safety car has ended now. It's Paro went into the pits. I think he had some sort of damage, but that means that Shiz Cameron is now into P3 again. But very good battling from Sparks and Jerome, as Jerome is now just drifting away from Sparks. He's now 6 tenths from him. I did see a little bit of contact, by the way, on lap 1 between Jamie Morris and Cameron in the Aston Martin. So I don't know if that will be sent to the stewards or not. I also saw very good battling from V Robbie and Mr. BT, but the grid is looking very close at the moment. Nothing is really going on through these few corners as the front runners are really just drifting away. What's happened?
Sparks has spun a little bit at turn 7. Cameron's now right in the back with Sparks. Drone now has a almost 2-second gap. And there's Jamie Morris now making the move on not 1 but possibly 2. Jamie Morris going for the move on Sparks. Where did the McLaren driver come from? He went for the switchback maneuver right there as Jamie's now going for the move using the slipstream, trying to go the outside line, which is not room there. And Rudy now in the action as well. This is a 4-way fight for second position. What a great battle we're seeing here into turn 10. They're almost 3 wide, and that's the McLaren spinning around. Jamie Morris off the track and spinning around. Cameron gets up in a 3rd, Rudy down to 4th, but the McLaren is off the track and spinning around there. That is incredibly unfortunate for the McLaren driver, but what a battle there for second position.
It's rude.
McLaren driver.
Yeah, I'm upset for him because, and this is the 3rd race in a row now, he's accidentally made a mistake, and he I think the stream died. I will have to check. Says we are still on air. I'm not too sure what happened. No, don't worry, it was just a glitch with someone's phone. But anyway, yeah, he hasn't had the greatest start to the season, so it's very unfortunate for him. I hope to not see him retire from the session, because anything can happen in this race. Already one of the best races I have seen. Well, sorry, the best few opening laps I have seen, as Rudy is closing in on Jerome now. He's just around 3 seconds behind him.
Oh yeah, I mean, here comes Rudy in that Alfa Romeo. He is flying right now. He is 3 seconds behind Jerome. And, yeah, like you mentioned, starting to catch up to that AlphaTauri driver. So we'll see how this works out. As it looks like we have Robbie going for the move on Scotty. Really good move from Robbie. He is pulling off some incredible moves in today's race. There goes the Williams up into P5 now. Scotty down to P6. But the battle for 5th is getting quite intense, and it is absolutely going down between all these drivers. It is getting very intense and becoming an absolutely amazing race. And like you mentioned, you've just witnessed one of the best races in SBR, and I gotta agree with you, this is turning out to be one of the best races. And of course, it is tier 1. It's all these drivers. They're so experienced, they're so competitive, and I mean, it's tier 1. That's all I can really say. It's just that just proves it why it is so competitive. That just proves why it is SBR's fastest tier in the league, as it is just so competitive and just a lot of action on the track at all times. So into turn number 3 and turn 4 as we come on board with Robbie. Robbie really flying through the field. We talked about that he didn't have the best of qualifying sessions, but he's going to be on the back of Cameron very soon. Oh!
Sorry to interrupt you there, but we both saw at the same time.
No problem.
Master Snap almost losing the car. I would have felt so bad because he's had a brilliant comeback so far in this race. As I think also we are going to see some soft tyre runners getting ready to pit in the next few laps, as Mr. BT unfortunately gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings by exceeding the track and getting contact with other drivers. Both the Alpines are in a good position for some points at the moment, in 7th and 8th. Also the AlphaTauris, obviously Kian is in 9th position. I think he came from pretty far down the grid actually. I think he came from about P17 or something along the lines of that. Yet he's come up 9 positions, so P18, so good comeback from him as well.
Yeah, great comeback from him. It's been really great to see him go through the field, and he will continue to do so. So we'll see. I think it's going to get interesting, but it seems like the sun's coming out a little bit more, so we're seeing more of clear skies very soon. And another thing of that is that these tires are going to start overheating quite a bit, and that is also going to cause degradation within the tires, and also drivers running lower downforce settings. That means they're going to get a lot more understeer, which means that these tires are going to be kind of, the drivers are going to go off the track a little bit more. They're going to get on that curb, which is going to be, those tires are going to bump up and down, which causes degradation to those tires, which means that these drivers are going to have to pit. So very soon, actually. So degradation seeming like it's going to get a little bit worse in the coming laps, and those soft tire runners are going to have to pit very soon. And the thing is, too, is that Sparks is right on the back of Rudy, who's starting to struggle in those softs, and Jerome, you can see him losing some time as well. So I think those soft runners definitely going to have to pit in the next few laps.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what strategies the medium runners do. Will they do a medium hard, or will they do a medium soft? As Sparks' tyres are definitely coming into advantage now as he's making the move into turn 11. Brilliant move from him, very clean racing from both of them. Yeah, definitely that's just overall tyre performance from both the drivers there, as now Sparks is back up into P2, obviously starting P1 on the grid. He's going to look to chase down Jerome now, as Jerome will be pitting very soon, I would imagine. Yeah, he has dived right into the pit. Sorry about that. Sparks has not dived. He reckons he can do. Rudy has not dived. He reckons he can do a good few more laps, as Skips gets another 5-second time penalty as he's retired from the session.
Oh, that was in the pit lane.
Yeah.
Is that what happened? Yeah. Okay. Sorry to interrupt you there. Yeah, I was a little surprised.
I think we both were, to be honest, because he got a 5-second time penalty for just going too quick. But yeah. I know that Rudy won the pre-season race in Spain, so he's definitely looking to take a race victory here today. Obviously the undercut is quite powerful. Will he be getting the undercut done? But he's got DRS on NRL Sparks now. Does he have enough ERS to make the move? He has 25. He's not even got it on. He's going to be patient. He knows that he doesn't need to actually get in front of him, but I reckon he will be wanting to get in front of him if he wants to pit, so he doesn't get slowed down while pitting.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think he wants to make sure that he gets a good entrance in that pit lane, though, and make sure that he gets very close to Jerome on track, and Pyro's right there as well. Pyro's very close to the AlphaTauri driver. He's only 9 seconds behind. So all these drivers might have to worry about Pyro coming into the mix as well, as Kian has made the move on Scotty. No, Scotty's coming back, though. The Alpine gets ahead of the AlphaTauri for now, and a good move is Jamie Morris does retire from the session. Is that a full course safety car or a VSC? No, it doesn't seem like that.
No, yeah, I really thought that was going to be a full course safety car, at least a virtual safety car at least, but then obviously there's a lot of space to spin and crash, and you can easily go off track there. So it might be a case of he's just lost the car. Obviously Jamie Morris didn't have the most brilliant of race starts, but anything can happen under a safety car. But no, you got NRL Sparks. I was quite surprised, by the way, that Rudy didn't pit. What was your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm surprised as well. I think he's trying to go long and trying to go for the soft to medium strategy. I mean, I think it looks like Jerome went for the hard compound tires. He's trying to take these soft for as long as possible, which is, I mean, fair play to him. He's doing a really good job to keep up with Sparks. He's just kind of sitting in the DRS of the Haas driver. So this is good for him, as it looks like Daniel has now retired in the pit lane. Yeah, the Alfa Romeo driver, I think he's just wanting to get these tires and take them as long as possible until he gets to like the 70% range, which is crazy to think about, but it's actually possible for around here. And I'm assuming these softs are probably around 60%, like 59, 58, somewhere around there on these tires. So they're going to be struggling quite a bit. I think Rudy's most likely going to come into the pit lane on lap 9 or lap 10. That's probably how that's going to work out. So either next lap or the lap after that. But usually when you want to pit for the mediums, you want to pit like a lap 10, lap 11. But you can definitely take them longer than the softs. So Rudy most likely going to come into the pit lane very soon, and most likely going to pit onto the mediums.
Yeah, well, Shiz Cameron in the Aston Martin is right on the back of Rudy now, as he's got a lot more ERS as well to play with. So are we going to see Cameron make a move coming into this back straight for the DRS? I think he knows, Mr. BT gets another 3-second time penalty. That's unfortunate from him, but I think Cameron knows that Rudy will have to be pitting very soon in this Grand Prix. I think Rudy will be probably finishing around 70, like you said, 75%, as I think the percentage race is around 5% per lap, and if your tyres are overheating, it's going to be even worse by that, like 7 or 8%.
Oh, definitely, yeah. This is interesting to see if Cameron's going to make the move on Rudy. I am very surprised if he's not going to be able to, because Rudy's putting up an absolutely amazing fight to keep Cameron behind on those old tires. But this is going to get really interesting. I don't know what is going to be happening here between all these drivers. We don't know if this is going to be happening. You know, we don't know if Cameron or if Rudy's going to pit this lap. And he is. He's going to the pit lane.
Yeah, I think that was probably inevitable. I think if he went out one more lap, he would have lost the position to Cameron. But now V Robbie will take P3 in this race. NRL Sparks still in P1, obviously started on pole. It'll be interesting to see if Jerome will be able to get in front of him on the pit, as Rudy is now making his pit stop now. Cameron is 8 tenths behind. Will Sparks be able to get out of the DRS of Cameron, or will we see some drivers making a move?
I think he should be able to, but we'll see. We'll see if he's able to. Who knows, really?
They're both matching each other's ERS, by the way. Like literally, like
that's good.
Exactly matching. And then V Robbie behind them is on 20%. So tyre ERS saving is definitely possible around here, as we've got a comment coming through. So I'll check that now. But I think we'll probably see the medium runners boxing around. I reckon they're probably going to try to do around lap 20 if they can, but their tyres are going to be literally like almost punctured if they do.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I think these mediums are going to start degrading very fast right now. That's going to be for sure. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. I think these drivers will start thinking about pit stops in the next coming laps. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. And I think some might try and go medium hard. When you want to pit for the hards, you probably pit around now. That's probably when you hards. Or a lot of them are going to try and go for the softs, which would be absolutely incredible if they can do that. And that would be the best strategy, in my opinion, because if you pit for the hards, it's not going to really work out because you're not going to have a lot of pace. But we'll see. We keep talking about him during the race, but I want to mention him again because he's been absolutely impressive in today's race. He's currently P3, and he started way down the field. He wasn't able to get up into the top 5 in qualifying. But Cameron, using the DRS, I think he wants to get ahead of Sparks here and try and lead this pack away. As Rudy gets a 3-second time penalty. There goes Cameron on Sparks, side by side, down into turn 8. Cameron does get ahead. Good move from the Aston Martin driver. He puts himself up into first and ahead of Sparks for now. But Sparks is going to come back using the slipstream of the Aston Martin a little bit. Is Sparks going to try and make the move to the inside? Cameron gives him the space. Good racing so far. Sparks sees an opportunity. He sees an opening. Cameron still gives him the space. They're side by side coming down into turn 11. Cameron should get ahead though, as Sparks will just slot in right behind. And there goes Robbie now, trying to make the move on Sparks. Sparks going to try and make the move on Cameron down into turn 12. He does not. Robbie gets a little bit of oversteer there as Pyro's just made the move on Artiste as we come down into turn 15 now. Cameron stays ahead, Sparks right behind, Robbie right behind, and Seb there as well, a winner from the Chinese Grand Prix as Scotty is into the pit lane now, and he gets a 5-second penalty for speeding as well. Not good for the Alpine driver, but here comes Sparks on Cameron looking for the move down to turn 1 we go. Cameron should pull to the outside line, Sparks to the inside, we go side by side down to turn 1. It is the Haas that gets ahead, but Robbie now looking for the move, and the Aston Martin driver coming down to turn 2 and turn 3. Robbie looking for the move to the inside line. Cameron will get ahead. Robbie lets him pass, and Seb right there as well. The drivers all stay the same as they were a lap ago, and this battle will definitely be continuing on as Cameron will have another opportunity to make the move on Sparks, but Robbie will be right behind, and same with Seb and Mr. BT. What an incredible battle for first we're witnessing here.
Yeah, I was expecting the grid to be much more closer together, but obviously we've seen a few incidents. But these top 5 are racing brilliantly as Robbie's gone down the inside of Cameron in the Aston Martin. Will he be able to make the move stick? He's been pushed a bit too wide, but he's left enough room for Robbie to stay. He's now going side by side with Cameron through turn 10. Cameron has the ERS a better advantage over Robbie, as Robbie cannot make the move stick at this particular time. Cameron must be struggling with his tyres. But V-Robbie is literally right on the back of him, and this is allowing Sparks now to get away from Cameron, as he's now having to defend from V-Robbie, and Seb and Mr. BT are very quick behind them. So are we going to see a 5-way fight for the podium places here as Robbie now dives straight into the pits? That's interesting. I didn't expect mediums to die off that quickly. He's probably going to go for mediums hards.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think Robbie will definitely go for that. We'll see how that works. We'll see if he's going to be able to go for that. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Robbie does go into the pit lane though, and he will pit onto the hard compound tire. So he is pitting onto those hards, which is very interesting. But he will come out behind Scotty, I do believe, or right ahead actually. He'll come out right ahead of Scotty.
Yeah, well, of course, Ariel Giron in P8, he was in provisional P1 before he pitted, and it looks like he is close enough to catch NRL Sparks and Cameron and Seb and literally just all the front runners when it comes to the pit stops, because obviously all the battling has helped him catch up. I think he's probably around, I want to say, 15 seconds behind, maybe a little bit less. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think he is. I think he's about that.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens with his pit stop. Maybe the hard tyres are coming into effect now.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm assuming they are. It's going to be interesting to see how these hard tires work out, because we know that the hards they're very cold at the start, as it looks like a few drivers in the pit lane. He, Seb, and Cameron all into the pits, most likely onto the hard compound tires. It looks like Sparks will stay out, and I think Sparks going for those medium comp, or going for the soft strategy here, as Cameron and Seb and Mr. BT all into the pit lane on the hard compound tires. Very interesting strategy here, but that seems to be the right one.
Yeah, well, both the AlphaTauris look to have a very good race at the moment. I'm not sure. Has Kian pitted? I will check now. Stops.
Kian.
No,
I don't think so.
The top 4 all haven't pitted, so they will have to pit in this Grand Prix. Looking for a very good result for Jerome, as he is around, still around 15 seconds from NRL Sparks. Obviously, he's 5 seconds apart from Kiam, definitely going for the medium soft. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it work though, because as we've seen, some drivers going for the medium hard as they don't feel comfortable enough to go for the medium soft. But maybe his tyre saving is just much better than some of the other drivers in this race. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, tire saving is a huge thing, especially in this race. Drivers have to make sure that they conserve those tires. Oh, hold on, I'll catch back up with that in a moment, because we've got Seb and Mr. BT side by side for P10 in the race, and this is for a higher position because they did pit, and they're waiting for all those other drivers to pit as we have them going side by side. We also have Cameron and Robbie side by side as well. Oh, Robbie goes a little bit wide there. Was a push-off track for the Williams driver. Not exactly sure, but Cameron does get ahead. And Seb does get ahead of Mr. BT, but Mr. BT looking to come back at the Mercedes driver, going for the switchback maneuver, coming down into turn 12. Seb goes a little bit wide. Mr. BT has the opportunity to try and go side by side with the Mercedes driver, as Mr. BT will just come out right ahead, but right behind. Seb will come out right ahead, but Mr. BT will have the DRS, and he's got to overtake Seb as fast as possible because he doesn't want Seb to catch back up to that train and get DRS off of that car. So Mr. BT has got to make that move, as it looks like Robbie is still right behind Cameron, and this battle for 7th is getting really intense between all these drivers.
Very good racing from both Robbie and Cameron and Scotty, and then Seb and Mr. BT. As it's Pyro has, oh no, it's in the pits, don't worry. I was hoping for a safety car just to mix things up a bit, see what people do, as that would literally help out NRL Sparks so much. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens in the further stage of this race, as we are now on lap 15, coming into lap 16 very shortly. Yeah, very great racing, as Wheelo in the Alpha Tauri and Funky Chicken is very close to him. Sorry, the Alfa Romeo. Sorry about that one. Is Funky Chicken looking for the move? It definitely is trying to stick his nose in. He was a bit too far back to make the move round turn 11. Is he going to look for the switchback maneuver, just like Mr. BT tried doing on IRT Seb? No, he can't. He's just a bit too far back. I don't think there's much battling going on, as V Robbie is quite close to Cameron, and IRT Seb has just drifted away a little bit from Mr. BT throughout that lap. He's probably made a few mistakes trying to catch up, or yeah, just came onto the foot a bit too much.
Well, I think we still have Funky trying to make a move on Wheelo coming down into turn 1. There goes the Haas. Wheelo does let him pass into that particular turn, but there was a great battle there that we were seeing. But besides that, I think we're just waiting for the strategy come into play. Sparks and Ken definitely going for that soft compound tire strategy, and I think we got to ask, will that work out? What do you think about that strategy?
If they can hold it until around lap 20, I reckon it can hold out. Obviously, we've seen drivers pit on the softs around lap 8. So, if they can hold it around lap 20 or 19 even, obviously their tyre saving is very good so far. They're probably on around 60 or 70% at the moment. So, they're going to want to try and save their tyres as much as possible for these next few laps, just so they can try and go onto the softs, because it will really slow them down if they go onto the hards. They basically should have pitted when all the other drivers pitted. But this is definitely helping out Jerome, as he's able to catch up to Wheelo and Funky Chicken now. Obviously, they've been battling throughout these past few laps. So he's just now 5/10 from Wheelo, closing in hundredths every single corner. Also, V Robbie is looking for the move on Cameron, as we've seen V Robbie's pace. He's very quick when it comes to his race pace. He's definitely more race pace. He's got better race pace than quali pace. We've seen it last season. We're going to see it this season as well, I would imagine, as Funky Chicken in the Haas has gone. Oh no, sorry, who is that? That's Sparks who in the Haas, who has gone onto the soft compound tyres. Does he think he can hold it for 10 laps?
I think he can. I think he's got the pace to do so. Sparks is very quick. I think he's got the opportunity to do it. It's just about doing it, really.
Yeah, well, he's come behind Mr. B2, who was in P5, if I'm if I'm correct, before all the front runners started pitting. So he's actually lost 4 positions there. Unfortunate for him. Rudy back up into P5. He's still looking for a P2 in this race if he can hold it, and even a P1 if he makes the move on Jerome. But Jerome is making the move on Wheelo in the Alfa Romeo now. His brilliant move as he's basically just breezed by him, but he also did have to maneuver under brake, and he's now going to hunt down Ariel Funky Chicken, who has not made his pit stop yet, and Kian as well, who has not made his pit stop yet. So I reckon he will just be patient and wait for them to pit, as they will be having to pit very soon.
There are so many battles out on track. We have a great battle for second between Funky, Jerome, Wheelo, and Rudy. And then we also have the great battle for sixth. Cameron, Robbie, Scotty, Sparks, and Seb, and Mr. BT, all in that battle for sixth position. 6 cars in that battle. 4 cars in this battle for second, and now Kian will surely join that fight as well, as there goes Wheelo also into the pit lane. The last of the medium compound runners that have yet to pit in this race are coming into the pits. It is Kian and Wheelo that should join right behind that pack of cars all the way down to Mr. BT.
Yeah, it's looking to be on for brilliant races. Well, I want to say Net P1 and Net P2 have just drifted away from the rest of the pack, who are battling for the last podium place. So these are probably some of the quickest drivers in this tier alone. So obviously tier 1 quickest tier in SBR, but definitely the quickest in this tier alone. Is Rudy actually going to be looking for the move on Ariel Jerome to take Net P1 in this race? It's going to be very close, but Jerome is actually going to make the move on Ariel Funky Chicken, and so is Rudy. He's going to stay behind Ariel Jerome. It's a very good move from him, as he Funky Chicken just can't make those hard compound tyres work any longer. He's definitely going to be wanting to pit very soon, as NRL Sparks is now up into 4th position. I have no idea how he's caught up that much. He's definitely much quicker than all of the pack, but there's also so much battling going on for the last podium position, as Cameron is now closing in on Sparks coming into turn 11. It's going to be looking for the switchback. He's definitely close enough to do it, but he's just not.
This is incredible, absolutely incredible. Yeah, Jerome and Rudy had a great battle there with Funky for P1, was it? And then Sparks, as Funky does come into the pit lane. Sparks holding back Cameron, but you're absolutely right. How has Sparks found that much time to be able to get up into P4? He's now hunting down Rudy and Jerome. I think this could be a battle between these 3 drivers. What's quite interesting as well is that Jerome's tires have come into the pace where they become the fastest tires, the fastest, well, the hard tires, once they get to like around lap 11, lap 12, they become super quick. Jerome is now on that particular type of tire, so now he has some serious pace on those hards. Rudy's tires are still really good, and he's going to be on similar pace as well. Sparks on the softs is also going to be flying. All 3 drivers are going to have very similar pace right now, but Rudy's got the DRS, he's got the slipstream, he's going to make the move on Jerome, coming down to turn 8. Rudy gets ahead and up into P1 now for Alfa Romeo. Great move from the Alpha. The AlphaTauri now moves himself down into second, and Sparks is still under pressure from Cameron, but Sparks is going to start gaining loads of time on Jerome and Rudy to come into the final few laps of the French Grand Prix.
Is he close enough to actually catch up to both Jerome and Rudy? I really hope he is, because this will be a great battle through the last few laps for this P1 position, as I honestly thought that Rudy and Jerome, both in the Alfa Romeo and the AlphaTauri, were drifting away from this race. But Rudy is driving brilliantly on those medium compound tyres, but Sparks closing in with like temps every single corner. This would be brilliant if he can, because he's come from about P11 all the way back up into P3. Will he want to retain his P1? Obviously he started on pole position. He's now only around 5.5 seconds away from Jerome. This is going to be one amazing few laps.
Absolutely, this is going to be an incredible end to the French Grand Prix, as Kian has now set the fastest lap of the race and now starting to chase after Mr. BT and that pack of cars all the way up to around Cameron and Sparks. But wow, this is going to be an incredible end to the race. I cannot wait to see what happens here in SBR. But we still do have Jerome 5/10 behind Rudy. Still has the opportunity to make the move, as that is a yellow flag in turn 12. I think that's Marty And one thing that might change everything up is a safety car. Imagine if that happens. I think that would just bring in a lot more action here, which would be absolutely crazy to see. We're already seeing some incredible action on track, but imagine if a safety car came out.
Oh, that would, I think from our view and from the viewers' view, that would be one, like, I think that's probably just one of our dreams, because we want to see action happening in these final few laps. Obviously, we've got to take into account, though, NRL Sparks' tyres will start to die off because he's pushing very hard to catch up Jerome. Is he pushing too hard, do you reckon?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think that might be actually the case. I mean, those softs die out pretty quickly. He's still got 7 laps to go. That means 10 or so laps on the soft compound tires, which is something that is doable, but it's very difficult to do so. We saw Rudy really struggling and on those soft compound tires, and he pit lap 9. Now, Sparks has got fresh new sets of soft compound tires, but it is going to be very difficult to do so. Those tires are going to be dying at the end. But to be honest, I think the only opportunity for him to, or the only thing he has to do, is push as much as possible. While it is maybe degrading his tires and unfortunately could be ruining his race, he's got to try. He's got to try and catch up, because if he doesn't, and then if he starts conserving those tires, then he's just going to be sitting right behind those guys. So he's got to try at least. And Rudy's got a penalty as well, so all he has to do is just make sure that he gets ahead of Jerome and stays within that gap of Rudy. So, I don't know. I think Sparks is doing a great job right now. He is pushing quite a bit, but it's understandable why he is.
Yeah, but then we've also got to remember, he is very good at saving his tyres. He pitted lap 16.
Yes.
Going into lap 17 on the medium compound tyres. So is he able to save his tyres for the end of the race if he can catch up to Jerome? Obviously, he's not really gaining much through this final sector. He's only gained around. Actually, no, he's gained. Oh, that's a retirement. Oh, it's in the pits. We can dream, but it's in the pits, unfortunately.
That was, it was very close to a safety car. We got very close there. Unfortunately, it was not. It's all good. It's all good. We move on, and yeah, we still have a lot of racing to go. I am curious to see what's going to happen here. Sparks seems to have dropped a little bit of pace. I think he's starting to conserve those tires. You also got to be worried about Cameron, and those hards are going to start really shaping up. And you got to remember, I mean, you mentioned that Sparks is really good at saving those tires. So hopefully he'll be able to save those tires and be able to just consistently keep going here.
Yeah, well, we've got to remember as well, we've still got to stay focused on this fight for P1, as Ariel Jerome cannot change anything at the front of the grid. Will he be looking for a move on this lap or in these next few laps? They're around the same percentage of ERS as NRL Sparks is around 10 to 15% further behind, but he's now only about 3 seconds away from Jerome. So if he can stay within 2.5 seconds, he will hopefully be snatching that P1. Well, I don't want to say hopefully, but he's done a phenomenal job so far, so it will be very good to see him maybe even take P2 in this race.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. I think he's got the pace to do this. He has put on an incredible job. He had a great start to the Grand Prix on those soft compound tires, got ahead of the front two at the start, led away really well, and he definitely does deserve it. If Sparks doesn't catch up that much time and doesn't pass Drone should be winning this Grand Prix, because technically he's in net P1 because Rudy has got that penalty. And so Sparks and Jerome, it's either one of them winning this Grand Prix, unless what's happening right here is that Sparks, while he is gaining time on Jerome, he is bringing a huge train of cars with him. Cameron, Robbie, Scotty, and Seb are all coming there. Mr. BT and Can as well. We are possibly in for a 9-way fight for P1. Of course, that probably won't happen just because of the DRS, but really, any of the top 9 can win this race.
All it takes is a bad few corners or even a bad exit for one of these drivers to make a move, but NRL Sparks is now just around 2 seconds away from Jerome. But we can also think that Jerome could get a penalty in this race. He could mess up on an exit of a corner or even an entrance of a corner. Obviously turn 1 and turn 2 are very easy to mess up on the entrances. As he goes wide there, he's probably taken a warning for that. Is he on his last warning?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know. He might be, actually. He might be on his last warning, which will be super unfortunate if he does get a penalty, because that puts him out of contention of... Actually, it doesn't put him out of contention of P1. But, of course, Sparks has catched up quite a bit, so I don't think he'd be getting P1 if that was the case. But he could be. He's just got to make sure he keeps it consistent. That's all he has to hope for right now.
Yeah, well, definitely a very good debut race for the actual season itself for Rudy. He obviously won in the pre-season, but he's definitely marking his dominance in this tier. NRL Sparks is now only a second and a half off of Jerome. Unfortunately, Mr. BT did retire in the pits as he had 9 seconds worth of penalties, so that's unfortunate from him. He had brilliant pace throughout that race, and Alpine were on for some brilliant points if there was no penalties involved. But now NRL Sparks is a second and a half off. Is he going to be able to? But now we've got to look at Jerome. Is he going to be making the move on Rudy? No, he's not. He's just a bit too far back on this round.
He is incredibly close to Rudy, though. I mean, he is 3/10 behind. He's got the opportunity to make the move on the Alfa Romeo. Coming down to turn 10. He knows the Sparks is coming. Jerome, you can see him in his rear view mirror. You can see that Haas coming in fast. And here goes Cameron now. Cameron on Sparks. They're side by side into turn 11. I did not expect this, but it's going it. Cameron gets ahead of Sparks. Are those softs just dying off too much? And Cameron's also got these hards in the perfect position. Could Cameron win the French Grand Prix here today?
That'll be a massive shock if he can. Obviously, he's now only a second and around a second, or just literally a second now from Jerome, as Jerome is now 3.5 tenths off Rudy. It's going to be making the move through into turn 1. He's much closer. He's using all of his ERS. He's definitely going to go side by side. But he's just going to breeze past Rudy. That's brilliant, Ray. That's brilliant. He had a brilliant exit, and he just breezed past him with the DRS advantage.
But now Cameron's going to start getting in the mix as well. He's got it almost under a second now. And look at that, he's gone under a second. These tires are absolutely working out for Cameron. As we mentioned, those hards, once they get to lap 11, they become ultra soft tires technically. And so Cameron has got himself into the DRS now, but this was absolutely critical for Jerome to get past, because now he's got ahead of Rudy, and now he's using Rudy as a blockade to hold up that pack of cars right behind. And so Jerome will be able to stay ahead. So this is great news for Jerome. And look at that, Robbie has now got ahead of Sparks. I think those softs are just dying off for Sparks. I think that's it. I think he just pushed a little bit too hard on those tires. Robbie now moves himself up into 4th position. So it really is just a battle between Jerome and Cameron, really, for P1, unless Rudy gets into the action as well. He's got that penalty, though. He's got 3-second time penalties to his name. But what needs to happen is Jerome just needs to stay ahead, and he's got this race win.
Well, 100%. There's definitely going to be no more safety cars for the end of this race. It's definitely going to be a very close race. Will Cameron be able to make any moves on Rudy in this next lap? If he wants to even take P1 from Jerome, he's got to make the move on Rudy on lap 26. But looking at the ERS, Rudy has that little bit more compared to Jerome. Or is Cameron happy with a P2 in this race? It's going to be very interesting to see as we are closing in to the final 2 laps of this race.
I mean, Cameron would be very satisfied with P2. I think he'll be happy with the 2nd place in the Grand Prix, but he wants P1. I mean, he's got the opportunity to do so. If he can get past Rudy on this lap, then he might have the chance of getting 1st position. And look at the exit he got compared to Rudy. Rudy's on those 16-lap-old mediums. Cameron's on much fresher tires in the top 2. He's just got to make sure he gets past Rudy this lap. If he gets past Rudy this lap, then he might be able to make the move on Jerome. But he has to get past Rudy. He has to get past Rudy. That is his only chance of making the opportunity to make the move on Jerome. He is right behind that Alfa Romeo. Let's get telemetry on my screen so I can see as well. Cameron now has 13%. Rudy's got about the same. Cameron cannot get past, but Cameron has been making a lot of moves in turn 11. Could he try something? No, he's just too far back. He cannot make the move on the Alfa Romeo quite yet. So it's going to have to be that DRS straight or into turn 12. He is right on the back of the Alfa Romeo. We are now approaching the final lap of the Grand Prix, and we now have a 3-way fight for 1st position here in the Tier 1 race here in France. We absolutely are getting a great race. Sparks is just been given a 3-second time penalty. His race for the podium hasn't really been going well right now. Cameron right behind Rudy. He has to make the move into this DRS zone before that launch straight if he's going to have the opportunity to make the move on Jerome. Using DRS, Cameron has to go for it. I think he has to. He's looking for the move. He has to back off, though. There's just not enough space. There's just not enough space. He's got to make that move fast, though. If he's going to be able to make the move, he's using the ERS. Rudy keeps ahead, though. But this is getting really intense. What can Cameron do if he's going to win this race?
Well, 100%, but you've also got to remember the positions 4, 5th and 6th, they all have penalties now, so Rudy could still actually be on for a podium. Are we going to see Cameron and Jerome both get penalties as well? As Jerome is just drifting away. I think Cameron is only on for P2 if he can get past Rudy on this lap, coming up into turn 8 on this DRS back straight. Rudy is defending like he's just defending really well. He's gone really deep there, so, allowing Cameron to even make the move, and he's making his stick. Are they going to go side by side into turn 10? It's going to be so close on this final lap. Even if Cameron can keep it clean, he will not. But Rudy is now back up into P2. He's defending like a champion here for this P2 on track.
And Cameron's got no ERS, but he's going for the switchback maneuver. What a move from Cameron! For sure, that's the move of the race. For sure, that is the move of the race. What a move from Cameron. It's not going to be enough for Cameron to make the move on Jerome, unless low fuel mode or something drastic like that. Jerome is on low fuel mode, but it shouldn't matter, because Jerome's going to come to the line. He had a great start, led into turn 1, and he's going to finish in P1. Jerome wins the French Grand Prix on 21-lap old hard compound tires. That is absolutely amazing. What an end to the French Grand Prix. Cameron takes P2. Rudy takes P3. Wow, what an end to the race here at the Circuit Paul Ricard. Jerome led to turn. He stayed in P1, defended like a champion, defended like a race winner, and has stayed there and has won the French Grand Prix. Congrats to Jerome. You are the race winner here in France.
What a drive from Jerome, and what a drive, a comeback drive from I don't think it was actually a comeback drive, but that maneuver, that switchback maneuver he made on Rudy was a crucial move on the final lap. We weren't expecting anything, but he dived down the inside of Rudy. What a move from him. Also, I have to say, Wheelo back up into P7. I can't remember where he started. I don't think he had the best of qualifying. I think he got out in Q2, if I'm mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, but he said in P5 in the Mercedes, he'll be pretty happy with that. Obviously, he was fighting for basically all of the race, but definitely my driver of the day has to be Jerome.
Oh yeah, absolutely agree with that. He did an absolutely amazing job today in today's race. He really just showed how good of a driver he truly is, and he put on some incredible racing out on track. So here's the podium. Jerome wins the Grand Prix here today in SBR. Congrats to him. He is the race winner here today in France. Cameron grabs P2. Congrats to him on that one as well. He pulled off an incredible race for Aston Martin. Also, congrats to Rudy, who also drove like a champion out there. He grabs P3. Even with that penalty, he was able to get onto the podium, so congrats to him as well. So the top 3 grab the win here today in France. That is the top 3 for the race results here at the Circuit Paul Ricard, but Jerome does win it ahead of Cameron. Rudy P3, Robbie from P12 to 4th. He had a great race as well. Seb P5, Sparks P6, Wheelo P7, Cayenne P8, Scotty P9, and Funky in the Haas grabbing P10. Both Haas's in the top 10, both AlphaTauris in the top 8, and I do believe both the Alfa Romeos in the top 7. Wow, what an incredible race from here in France. Qualifying was incredible, and the race was incredible to watch as well. A brilliant race to conclude round 3 here in SBR at the Circuit Paul Ricard. We were going to race in Russia. We were going to race in Russia, but we switched to France, and I'm glad we did switch to the French Grand Prix, because that was pretty incredible. A brilliant race here at the Circuit Paul Ricard in Le Castellet.
Definitely my favourite race of the whole out of all the SBR races I've witnessed, I've watched, I've raced in, that is one of my favourite, if not my favourite race I have ever watched. I did say how Jerome was my driver of the day, but seeing that V Robbie came back from P12 on the grid, brilliant drive from him. Are you going to be doing interviews on your stream as I have to shoot off?
Yeah, I can do that. I can do interviews to our top 3 drivers if we get the chance to do so. I will quickly invite those drivers. If anyone's listening to this, if Rudy, Cameron, and Jerome, if you guys are listening to this, just if you can add me as on PlayStation, that would be great. My PSN is as shown, Broomhandle914. Yeah, so you have to get going. That's what you said.
Yep, I have to get going, but thank you to everyone who has joined in on this stream for this round. Definitely one of my definitely one of the best races we are going to see this whole season. But if you all want to go over to Jonah's YouTube, it is Formula Jonah. So go search it up, go join his live stream if you want to hear the interviews from all of these drivers. But thank you very much for watching this race. We hope to see you next week for Monza, the Italian Grand Prix for Tier 1 Round 4.